Welcome back to Untested Builds, where we figure out how to play your favorite fictional characters in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Join the Patreon to vote in polls for upcoming videos, comment below to suggest characters you want built, and subscribe to be notified whenever we post a new video. Today we're building the Arsenal, the Maniac from Zon, the Terror of Piltover, Jinx the Loose Cannon. She's basically a Borderlands character ported right onto the Rift. She's colorful, insane, and carries an improbable number of weapons considering her wardrobe. For our goals for this build, Jinx has 4 main weapons: her minigun, a handheld laser she calls her Zapper, a rocket launcher in the shape of a shark, and handheld devices that serve as combination snares and hand grenades. We need to be able to switch between these 4 offensive options on the fly. Despite her chaotic demeanor, Jinx is a highly capable criminal capable of infiltrating and evading capture from Piltover's finest peacekeepers. But she uses that brain for more than just mayhem. All of her equipment is a custom mix of hex tech and chem tech, and she's able to maintain her arsenal as well as she can use it. We had a good run of different ancestries and heritage over the spooky month, but now it's back to the good old standby. Skilled humans get 2 free ability boosts that will take in intelligence and dexterity. They can also choose a skill to become trained in and automatically become an expert in at level 5. We're selecting acrobatics here. Jinx has a lot of implied agility from the stories told in the background, but we don't really see it come across in her game mechanics, so this will be a little nod to that. We'll take the criminal background for boosted dexterity and charisma, as well as the experienced smuggler feat. With this, NPCs will need to pass a DC of 10 plus our stealth modifier to passively notice an item we are concealing. For our ancestry feat, Natural Ambition allows us to pick up an extra first level class feat when we get there. I've already made a ranger for a law enforcement officer in a mega city, so naturally we'll make one for a mega city criminal as well. Level 1 rangers gain a boost to either strength or dexterity in the hunt prey action. With this, we designate a creature we can see or are tracking as our prey, giving us a +2 circumstance bonus to perception checks to seek them, as well as to survival checks to track them. We also ignore the penalty for using ranged weapons in their second range increment while firing at our prey. We choose a Hunter's Edge for an extra benefit against our prey. Outwit rangers gain a +2 circumstance bonus to deception, stealth, intimidation, and recall knowledge checks against their hunted prey, and also a +1 circumstance bonus to AC against their attacks. There really isn't a way to make an automatic crossbow in 2E just yet, so we're going to gain a couple of damage bonuses to make up for it. Crossbow Ace gives us a +2 circumstance bonus to damage on a crossbow strike, provided we either used hunt prey or reloaded earlier that turn. We also increase the size of the damage die by 1 step. For our bonus class feat from Natural Ambition, Gravity Weapon is a focus spell that gives us a status bonus to damage on weapon strikes equal to the number of damage dice for that strike. For skill training, we'll take crafting in Deception, Diplomacy, Performance, Society, and Thievery, and for ability boosts, we'll increase Dexterity, Intelligence, Wisdom, and Charisma. At level 2, we're going to start playing fast and loose with the rules a bit. Jinx will be proud, but your GM might not be, so definitely clear this with them first. The Quick Draw class feat allows us to draw a weapon and strike with it in the same action. Here's the cheese. If your GM allows you to preload your crossbows, you can have multiple loaded before combat, which means you can strike with your ready crossbow, then stow the weapon, and quick draw your next loaded crossbow for potentially 2 crossbow strikes a turn, depending on how many crossbows you're carrying for some more jinxy vibes. For our skill feat, we'll grab snare crafting so we can work our way up the feat tree in quick deploy chompers. For now, this gives us the ability to craft snares along with 4 free common formulas. Go ahead and start using all the level 1 formulas, but we've got our eyes on a specific snare for this build. Level 3 rangers get Iron Will for expert will saves. We also get a skill increase for expert crafting proficiency. The adopted ancestry feat allows us to choose ancestry feats from an additional ancestry of our choice. Not really a lore reason for this, I just wanted some goblin feats. At level 4, we'll pick up the running reload class feat, allowing us to reload a weapon while using a stride step or sneak action. We'll run out of loaded crossbows eventually, so being able to reload while repositioning is a must. The Streetwise feat lets us use our Society modifier instead of Diplomacy to gather information or recall knowledge concerning a particular area you're familiar with. Not sure how often the average player looks at the snare crafting list, but the Biting Snare is basically a perfect stand-in for Jinx's chompers, and we can start crafting them at this level. They force a DC 18 reflex save on a triggering creature, and it deals 5d6 piercing damage if they fail. On a critical hit, they take double damage and get their speed reduced by 10 feet until they recover HP. Only thing that could make this better is if we could add fire damage to it. Level 5 rangers get trackless steps so we can cover our tracks while moving at full speed. Weapon expertise gives us expert proficiency in simple and martial weapons. We also gain the critical specialization effects of our weapons while attacking our prey. For our ability boost, we'll increase dexterity, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. For our skill increase, we'll take expert proficiency in society and training in arcana. The Twitchy Ancestry feat gives us a +1 circumstance bonus to AC against saves, hazards, and all initiative rolls. but if the foe in question is using deception or diplomacy for their initiative, we gain a +4 bonus to our initiative instead. We're getting a little more devious with the criminal connections feat. With this, we can arrange a meeting with a prominent criminal in an area that we've spent time building connections in. Jinx's shenanigans are usually a solo act, but I'm sure she knows who to talk to get specific things done around Piltover and Zahn. We've got our minigun and chompers now, but what about rockets and lasers? Let's solve that now with the Eldritch Archer dedication. This lets us prepare a cantrip from any tradition to cast using our charisma modifier. Produce Flame is a spell attack that deals 1d4 plus our charisma modifier and fire damage to a target. On a crit, we double the damage and also deal 1d4 persistent fire damage. Don't forget, cantrips scale with our level, so this is cast as a level 3 spell right now. The key feature from Eldritch Archer dedication is the Eldritch Shot feature, which allows us to spend 3 actions to combine a strike with our bow with a spell attack dealing damage with both, but using our normal attack modifier for both. So now we don't need to invest heavily in a spellcasting proficiency to reliably hit with our spells. Well, I guess it's just one spell for now, but we'll get more soon. Level 7 Rangers get Evasion for Master Reflex saves and critical success results on regular successes. Vigilant Senses increases our perception to Master. Weapon Specialization gives us an additional flat 2 damage on our crossbow since we have Expert Proficiency currently. We'll take our skill increase for Master Crafting. For our general feat, Ancestral Paragon gives us a level 1 Ancestry feat. Burn It is a goblin feat that gives our fire spells a bonus to the damage equal to half of the spell's level, and we get a +1 bonus to any persistent fire damage we deal. At level 8, we'll take the Pickpocket feat. Jinx usually has much grander thievery goals in mind than what happens to be in a random passerby pockets, but it's a prerequisite we'll need later in the build. In the meantime, we can steal or palm an object that is closely guarded without taking the usual -5 penalty. Basic Eldritch Archer spellcasting is the longest feat name imaginable, but I guess that's okay because it gives us 3 spell slots. We're going for more support type spells since our spell damage is mainly coming from Produce Flame. Fleet Step lets us get excited by giving us a 30-foot bonus to our move speed for a minute. We're probably only taking a move action every other turn, so getting double the movement will help make up for that. Knock makes a locked container or door easier to open. For a minute, any creature attempting to open the lock with a thievery or athletics check gains a +4 bonus on their check. We can also attempt to pick the lock as part of casting this spell. Haste is what we're really here for though, however. If you haven't noticed, crossbows kind of hamper your action economy in a big way. With this, we can give ourselves an extra action each turn for a minute that we can use for an additional move or strike action. Don't forget, we can reload while it's moving, so take advantage. And if you want to take full advantage of this channel, you want to join the Patreon. Patrons not only get to choose what I post on the channel, but your suggestions get put to the top of the queue and they get to download character sheets for all the builds we make. We still have 2 active polls up and we'd love your input. If any of that interests you, link is in the description. Level 9 Rangers get Nature's Edge, which makes enemies flat-footed against us if they are in difficult terrain. Ranger Expertise increases our Ranger DC to Expert. We'll increase our Thievery skill to Expert as well. For our Ancestry feat, Multi-Talented gives us the multi-class dedication of our choice. We're taking Imperial Sorcerer for access to another arcane spell attack cantrip. Red Forest is our Zap. We make a spell attack roll and deal 1d4 plus our charisma modifier of cold damage, and on a crit, they take double damage and also a -10-foot speed to penalty for a round. Tanglefoot is another good spell attack cantrip, but we build flavorful builds here, so the Sigil cantrip lets us make magical Jinx graffiti so no one can take credit for our pranks. We also get training in 2 skills that we'll take in Athletics and Occultism. At level 10, we'll take our ability boost in Dexterity, Intelligence, Wisdom, and Charisma. For our skill training, we'll grab Intimidation. We'll go back down the list to pick up Snare Specialist class feat. We immediately add 6 common or uncommon snare formulas to our list, and we can prepare up to 6 free snares per day for quick deployment that we can deploy in 3 actions instead of 1 minute. We'll pick up the Dubious Knowledge feat. So even when we fail a recall knowledge check, the GM still gives us a tidbit of knowledge, but it comes with a bit of false information too. We use this for the Wonder Woman build because she didn't really have experience with the outside world, but we're taking this here to give us some game mechanics to emphasize Jinx's chaotic behavior. It's all about how you flavor things. We've basically gotten everything on the list for Jinx, but let's keep going and grab some extras along the way. Level 11 Rangers gain Juggernaut to increase our Fortitude saves to Master. Medium Armor Expertise for Expert Proficiency in Light Armor, Medium Armor, and Unarmored Defense. Wild Stride lets us ignore non-magical difficult terrain and lets us treat greater difficult terrain as regular terrain. We'll use our skill increase for Expert Deception. The Fleet feat lets us perform great feats with our feet by giving us 5 more feet of move speed. At level 12, we'll take quick snares to prepare any snare in 3 actions instead of a minute, even if it's not one of our free quick deployment snares. Wary Disarmament gives us a +2 circumstance bonus to our AC or save against a device of a trap we are attempting to disarm. Level 13 Rangers gain Weapon Mastery for Master Proficiency with simple and martial weapons. We'll use our skill increase for Master Thievery Proficiency. We'll pick up some advanced general training for our Ancestry feat. Different Worlds lets us create an alternate identity for ourselves based on one of the ancestries we have access to. Jinx grew up in Piltover, but now she operates out of Zon. We're just making up a Zon lore skill for the character sheet, but take whatever is relevant to your campaign. The real reason we're taking this is for the +4 bonus we gain at deception checks when making statements that would make our new identity seem true. The Lightning Snares feat lets us craft and deploy our snares in 1 action instead of 3, meaning we can finally throw 3 chompers out in a single turn if we want to. Quick Unlock lets us attempt to pick a lock in 1 action instead of 2. We're getting really efficient this level, aren't we? Level 15 Rangers gain incredible senses for legendary perception, improved evasion for even better reflex saves, and greater weapon specialization for greater base weapon damage. We'll use our ability boost for dexterity, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma, and take our skill increase in society for master proficiency. The improvised repair feat lets us spend 3 actions to make a broken non-magical item usable again. This doesn't restore any hit points though, so it can easily be broken again. If you've been using biting snares this whole time, then this far in the build you've probably noticed they aren't nearly as effective as before. Powerful snares make the DC for our snares equal to either the snare's original DC or equal to our class DC, whichever is higher. The quick disguise feat allows us to set up a disguise in half the usual time. You don't really like restrictive clothes, but pretending to be someone else is fun sometimes. Level 17 Rangers gain Masterful Hunter to increase our Ranger DC to Master. We also gain a +4 bonus to seek actions against our prey, as well as survival checks to track them. We also double the Outwit bonuses we gain to deception checks and AC against our prey as well. We get a skill increase that we'll use to increase our deception proficiency to Master, meaning we can now set up a disguise in 1 minute instead of 5. The Reckless Abandon Ancestry feat gives us some improbable luck. Once per day as a free action, we can gain a success on any saves we fail or critically fail for the rest of the turn, and for the remainder of the round, any damaging effect we take deals the minimum damage possible. Every champion needs an ultimate ability. Arrow of Death is our super mega death rocket. We spend 3 actions to make a bow strike that deals an additional 10d10 precision damage on a hit. On a crit, the target also has to pass a Fortitude save equal to our class DC or they die immediately. Slippery Secrets allows us to use a deception check against the spell DC of an effect attempting to discover our true intentions. If we succeed, the effect reveals nothing. Level 19 Rangers gain Second Skin to increase medium and lower types of armor to Master. We also can rest normally in medium and light armor. Swift Prey lets us select our hunted prey as a free action as long as it's our first action of the turn. We'll take our skill increase for Legendary Society and take the Toughness feat to gain max HP equal to our level and reduce the DC of our recovery checks to 9 plus our dying condition value instead. Level 20, we'll take our last ability boost in Dexterity, Constitution, Intelligence, and Charisma. We'll take our skills training in Medicine. We'll take the Quick Contact feat so we can establish connections in a new area in 1 hour instead of 1 day of downtime. For our capstone feat, Ultimate Skirmisher allows us to ignore the effects of all types of terrain, and we don't trigger traps or hazards by moving into an area unless we want to, so now nothing can get in the way of our fun. Now that we're level 20, let's examine the pros and cons of this build. For starters, Arcane Archers have some of the most consistent range damage in the game, since we're able to strike and use spell attacks from a distance before applying our multi-attack penalty. We also have a good amount of battlefield control between our snares and high movement speed while ignoring difficult terrain. We're also the MVP outside of combat. We're at least trained in every skill except for religion, so even the rogue is going to be a little jealous of our utility. For cons, I am once again complaining about crossbows. I almost decided that we should just use regular bows for this build, but it just didn't feel like Jinx at the end of the day. The reload requirement is somewhat mitigated by our running reload combined with haste, but with only 1/3 level spell slot per day, it's not the most reliable thing we could be doing. Also, the feat requirements to make snares combat effective is long and expensive, so your progression is going to feel a lot slower than the rest of your party. But you saw the risk and threw caution to the wind anyway. Get in there, get excited, and cause as much mayhem as possible. Thanks for tuning in to another build. Posting these videos is fast becoming my favorite time of the week. If it's your first time here and you enjoy the content, why not subscribe and share with your friends? And if you're looking for another build to enjoy, look no further than here.